Welcome to another edition of In the Spotlight with the Minnesota Magicians. I'm Jimmy Lillidahl, Director of Media Relations and Broadcasting for the expansion. The season continues here on November, large homestand. 2 games this past weekend against the Janesville Jets, and we'll go through Friday's game for you right now. Unfortunately, a shootout loss on Friday night for the Minnesota Magicians. The opponent was the Janesville Jets, a team they had played last weekend and gained 5 of 6 possible points. The Magicians unable to score in the first period. Janesville getting a goal from Drew Callan. Callan's 3rd goal against the Magicians this season. That was unassisted. And then for Janesville, it was the captain, Jordan Himley, getting the goal. Assist to Mike Loria and Adam Weinborg. The Magicians get the twine in the second period. It's Colin Hernan. Hernan able to score on the rush. Travis Kepke picking up an assist for the Minnesota Magicians, as well as Cody Milligan. In the third period, the Magicians getting a goal from Will Johnson. It's Johnson's 6th goal of the season. Will, one of the youngest member of the hockey club, also leading the team in goals scored. So Johnson gets his 6th of the season. Assist went to Matt Colford, who was an honorable mention this week in the Midwest Division. Then Janesville's able to come back with an unassisted goal. It's Drew Callan, his 2nd of the evening. Magicians able to tie it up. It's a power play goal. Nick Kuchera able to walk it off the wall, just kind of pulls it to the middle, gets a power play goal. That's unassisted. Tying the game at 3. Then the game went to overtime. In the 4-on-4 overtime, not much going on there. Janesville able to get a power play on that, but nothing crossing the goal line there. The game went to a shootout. Janesville able to score their first 2 shooters, Loria and Himley, both captains for the Jets, able to get the back of the net. Kepke, Hernan, and Uglum shooting for the Magicians, but no one able to get one, and the final ends up being 4-3. A win for Janesville, a loss for the Magicians. Magicians able to get a point in the shootout loss, which is a positive there. And then we go to Saturday night. Saturday night was much better for the Minnesota Magicians. Saturday night was ladies' night here at Richfield Ice Arena. The Minnesota Magicians start off the scoring with a power play goal. It's Matt Colford getting the goal. Assist Nick Kuchera and Derek Kuchera. Colford right in front of the net, able to pound it home. And Colford gets one more goal to add to his resume. It's Colford's 5th goal of the season, his 5th of the year. He's 2nd in the team in goals scored. And then in the second period, this is a big goal. This is a big deal. Tyler Tomerlin getting his first North American Hockey League goal. It was his 2nd game for him as a member of the Minnesota Magicians. He's a before and after. He'll go back to high school when the high school season starts. He's from Andover. He gets the goal, again, his first of his NAHL career. Tomerlin puts it up top, and Joe Clevin picks up the assist. The Magicians get their 3rd unanswered goal in the 3rd period. It's Eetu Karvinen, the Finnish native. Nick Kuchera and Matt Colford picking up assists. This was kind of an interesting one. I think it went 5-hole, and then Eetu Karvinen able to just kind of pool cue it across the goal line as the Magicians were up 3-0. And Janesville trying to mount a comeback, getting a goal from Jordan Himley. Assisting on that was Zach Ovolio. So the Janesville Jets down 3-1, pulling their goaltender Brock Kautz, getting the extra attacker out there. Mike Loria actually gets the goal. Carson Vance and Cole Pierce picking up assists. That made it real tight towards the conclusion. A 3-2 final, and ended up being the Magicians able to stay strong in the final 34 ticks and get the dub there. And the Magicians able to slide into 4th place with the victory. So if the playoffs started today, the Magicians would get the 4th seed and play the 1st seed. Still plenty of hockey left to play, but interesting to look at there. The Magicians able to go 1 for 3 in the power play, 2 for 10 in the weekend. Not bad. The power play numbers continue to increase. The Magicians were 23rd in the league last weekend. I think they're 16th right now out of the 24 clubs. So the special teams numbers continue to improve. And then the win on Saturday night, no Thomas Delaney. Delaney was out with a concussion. Delaney's been the best defenseman for the Minnesota Magicians since he's come from the Tri-City Storm. And then no Will Johnson. Will Johnson and Chris McKenzie were out of the lineup on Saturday night due to fighting within the last 5 minutes minutes of the game. So two or three big players there within Delaney, Johnson, and McKenzie not in the lineup, and the Magicians able to get the win. So 3 of 4 possible points for the Minnesota Magicians. Another solid showing by goaltender Brian Neese, and 4 games in a row with power play goals. So some positives there. Welcome back to In the Spotlight with the Minnesota Magicians. I'm Jimmy Lillidahl. I'm alongside veteran Patrick Pollock. Patrick, you've played in this league for quite some time. Kind of an interesting deal for you. On Friday night, you're going to play in your 150th game in this league alone. Not entire, just this league. Game 150. That's a lot of games.
It is. It's been 3 long years in the league. Got a lot of experience. I think I'm most games played on the team. But it's been a ride. It's been fun. Got a lot of good experiences in life in 3 different spots. Learn the ways of life in 3 different areas of the country. Now being in Minnesota, love it here. Great area. Twin Cities are beautiful. So really experienced a lot. I loved it. Game 150. It's a milestone, that's for sure.
Talk about the maturing process. I mean, you moved away from home, as a 17-year-old. As you mentioned, this is your 3rd year in the league. I mean, if you could look back at yourself 3 years ago, I mean, you've come so far.
Yeah, being older now, I'd definitely say a few times I probably would have punched myself back when I was younger. But the maturing process, it goes pretty quick. Moving out of your house, you're in someone else's home. You got to grow up pretty fast. You respect, who you're around a lot more. When you're at home, you're with your parents. You can get away with a few more things, but you're living at someone else's house under different rules. You really got to grow up fast. So.
Who's been there for the most for you? I know we talk about the relocations, you playing in so many different games, 3 different locations throughout the U.S., St. Louis, Topeka, Kansas. Now you're here in the Twin Towns making an impact. Talk a little bit about that.
My family's been there for me the whole entire time. Moving from St. Louis to Topeka, I knew I had to do it. The team in St. Louis went dark for a year and ended up moving to the wilderness up north. But getting traded from Topeka was kind of a shock for a while, so I went home for a day or 2, and my family was really there surrounding me and supporting me. When I got here, I know I talked to Coach Meyer a lot on the phone on my way. He helped me around a lot, and then I got here and I met the guys, and everybody was great. They're really accepting. I think I bonded quicker with this team than I have with any other team, so that was nice. It's always nice to have a group of guys like ours who are all we're all like family. We're all real close. The guys are great. So.
We talk about you playing in game 150. A young man played in his 2nd game. A young guy named Tyler Tomerlin from Andover High School, playing him before and after. He makes a big impact on Saturday night. Scores his first goal. Something you've experienced. You've seen probably hundreds of players experience at this point. Talk about seeing that, or just witnessing that, and being part of a club when someone gets that first goal, and how big of a deal is that?
It's huge. Last weekend we had a ton of guys get their first goals. It's a big moment for anybody in their junior career, scoring their first junior goal, and that goal was a huge goal. It was a pretty goal. And it couldn't have come at a bigger time. We needed the goal. We needed to secure the lead. And it's great to see the young kid stepping up. You just see the joy on his face when he scored. I remember my first goal, and it was great. It's huge. I still remember scoring. I'm sure he'll remember that for a long time.
The Janesville Jets were the opponent this past weekend. 3 of 4 possible points, some positives there. The previous weekend it was 5 of 6 possible points. So you finished with an overall record of 3-0-2 against the Jets, a pretty solid club. We talked about the D1 commitments. What's that do for the club moving forward? That's a nice tally to get.
Yeah, it's great. We're in a stretch here where we feel like we can take a lot of points from the teams that we're playing, and we've done exactly that. Somewhat of an easier stretch, they say, but there's no easy games in this league. And we're going out and doing what we need to do every night, get a lot of points while we can, taking points when we should, and it will really help us out down the road, when we get into some tougher games, end of the year games, fighting to make playoffs. This is a huge step for our team. So.
Jimmy Liddell alongside Patrick Pollock, veteran here for the Minnesota Magicians. He's going to play in game 150 on Friday. Before we go here, talk about the Aberdeen Wings, an opponent the Magicians have never seen before, but they're a very good team. They didn't win last weekend, but they're in second place in a very solid Central Division. Talk about the Wings in the upcoming games this weekend.
I was pretty lucky enough. I got to face Aberdeen in the preseason in Topeka. You know, they're a big team and they're fast, very physical, can score some goals too. It's going to be a great challenge for us. I know, you know, if we're on our game though, we can play with any team in the league, and we've proven that. So, you know, I like our chances at home where we always seem to play better in front of the home crowd. So,
thanks for taking the time, Patrick.
Of course, thank you.
That's Patrick Pollock of the Minnesota Magicians. Welcome back to In the Spotlight with the Minnesota Magicians. A big thanks to Patrick Pollock joining us in the broadcast here. Patrick Pollock again playing in game number 150 of his NAHL career. That takes place on Friday, so congratulations to Patrick Pollock, and again for him for taking the time. The Magicians play Aberdeen on Friday night, folks. Make sure you're coming out to check that out. Saturday night is glow night. The first 600 fans will get a red glow necklace. We're going to try and glow the place up during the warm-ups and during the intermissions, that kind of thing. That should be interesting. Again, the first 100 beer sales will get a koozie on both nights. So make sure you're paying attention to that. Also, this is kind of interesting. Mike the Marine Man Richmond, who's a professional MMA fighter for Bellator, is going to drop the biscuit on Saturday night. That's going to be interesting. He'll be bouncing around the crowd, talking to fans and that kind of stuff. So again, Mike Richmond dropping the puck on Saturday night. He's an MMA fighter for Bellator. He's from Rosemount, Minnesota, so he's one of us. Also, youth hockey discounts are available. Check us out on magicianshockey.com. There's a flyer on the right side of the webpage, or you can call the box office 612-861-9356. Ask for Jimmy, Joe, Kevin, or Frankie, and we'll get you set up with that. Also, corporate partnerships are available. 612-861-9356. The bar rails are up, and that's an advertising opportunity as well for some companies that want to get involved. A big thanks to Patrick Pollock for taking the time, and that's going to do it for another edition of In the Spotlight with the Minnesota Magicians. So long, everybody.